When the young girl awakens from her coma, she makes a shocking disclosure about her father. Little Jemina, a 6-year-old girl who had been in a coma for several months following a horrific accident while traveling with her mother, has finally regained consciousness, and her first words were unexpected. We'll find out her entire story at the end of the video, but first, like and share it with others, and make sure you're subscribed and have the notifications bell turned on. Galileo and her husband, Andrew, were overjoyed when they learned they were expecting their first child just a few months after moving into their lovely new home. And even though her pregnancy developed normally in the early stages, Galileo began to experience rising blood pressure in the later months, prompting her doctors to intervene. When she arrived at the hospital the day before her delivery, the physicians were only able to preserve her life due to a miracle, and after a week of battling between life and death, she has awoke. She immediately requested to see her daughter, and she also sounded emotional when holding the tiny, healthy infant in her arms. She only wanted to make the most of every chance she had with her. On the other hand, her husband was distant and obstinate, behaving as if her presence bothered him and complaining about the fact of getting no attention from her. The mother convinced herself that it was jealousy that had caused everything. Her hubby appeared to become more accepting of the girl and to display a little more affection toward the young lady as time passed. By that time, she had turned 2 years old and gained the post of official kitchen assistant for her mother, who had sought Andre for help in beginning a pastry business and opening a little annex to her own home. They were both doing well as a result of Andre's outstanding advancement at his place of job. Despite their excellent fortune, her husband was always seeking for reasons to go to work, even on his days off, and she went on vacation to keep him away from home. 4 years later, Galileo finally recognized what had happened when she discovered her husband's old phone, which had been stored in the attic, and read through the horrific conversations that he had recorded on it, and a strong sense of hatred seized her. Because of these conflicting emotions, she drove to Jemina school to think about what she should do now that she knew the complete truth. The daughter of prominent billionaires, Andrew admitted to her boss through a series of text chats that she was pregnant at the time and that he was the father of her child. With time, the wife found out that even more horrific documents revealing that Andrew's partner had died during childbirth and that he'd agreed to care for the youngster for the darkest of reasons, including obtaining money from the mother. However, the stillbirth of the Galilean infant boosted his capacity to persuade medical specialists to support him in his attempt to replace the Galilean baby with his girlfriend's. He did so by notifying them of yet another of his immoral fabrications. His wife will not be saddened by the loss of her genuine daughter as a result of this, because she will also have a mother. Galileo had only used the money to live a lavish lifestyle at the expense of the little girl's grandparents because she had been responsible for rearing the fruit of her husband's dishonesty for all these years. When Galileo returned with the innocent Jemina, who was singing and smiling as sweetly as she had before, she realized what she needed to do. The automobile made a significant amount of noise. Within seconds, they were both trapped inside the vehicle, which had overturned on the side of the road. "Mum, where have you vanished to?" Jemina's statement triggered a retaliatory response. They all looked at each other in disbelief, and then they tried to think of the simplest way to explain to her that she had been detained and was being investigated by the authorities after certain indications emerged that she had intentionally caused the accident in order to gain access to the information. After learning of the girl's confession, the detectives changed their approach to the case, and they soon discovered that her husband's claims about her alleged hatred for Jemina and desire to get rid of her were false. Since the winter's ravages, the investigation has been ongoing. Because she was in such a daze at the time, Galileo had lost a significant amount of blood, and paramedics were unable to determine what she had done in an attempt to keep her daughter at home with her until she was released from the hospital. She ran to her daughter's side, hugging and kissing her and thanking God for allowing her daughter to recover from her illness. They packed their belongings and relocated to a new city with their daughter, using the proceeds from the bakery as a springboard for a fresh start, and it made no difference why she didn't grow up in her mother's womb.